Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks. They will be coming off of their bye this upcoming weekend, going home and playing the Las Vegas Raiders, who currently sit at 3-7. Now the Raiders are coming off a nice win against Denver, but speaking of Denver, I think we all know how that one's going. It's pretty desperate. In fact, the Seattle Seahawks have a projected number 5 pick, essentially because Denver sucks, right? So they're 3-7, and you're headed home. You had a bye week. You know, we have Thanksgiving on Thursday. I think that a lot of you guys agreed with my take a couple of days ago. I think this was the perfect wake-up call for Seattle. I mean, when you really break down the film of that Munich game, there are so many factors, right? You know, jet lag, playing in a different country, Tampa Bay's, I wouldn't go as far to say their season's on the line, but they're also, you know, they're pretty desperate for wins. Turnovers absolutely were just a shot in the foot. Turnovers, and that's something that Seattle has actually done a pretty good job at so far this season. Geno Smith, I know he's had his issues, but he only has 4 interceptions, a couple of fumbles. Geno Smith, for the most part, he leads the league in NFL, leads the NFL in completion percentage at 72.8, but 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, almost 2,500 yards. Pro Bowl Geno Smith right here. So if you can just limit turnovers, and if that defense can just continue to improve, they currently rank 22nd in opponent point per game at 24.1. The good news is this: Seattle has a top 5 offense. Seattle's putting up 26 points a game. So I really think that Munich loss against Tampa Bay last week, I really think that's just the perfect wake-up call. Like, listen, all right, you know, maybe we got humbled a little bit. We're back to reality. We are on this really nice winning streak. We got to keep in mind, keep our eyes on the prize. You know, considering the season, you're projected like 5% to make the playoffs. This season's been a massive success. You know, 2-3 to start the season. A couple of bad losses, not brutal losses, but, you know, some unfortunate winnable games were lost early on in the season. Once the Seahawks got their bearings, the offense started to click, the defense started to come together. That's where we saw that nice little win streak against Arizona, the Giants, the Chargers, and Arizona again. So looking at the rest of their season, personally, I think there's at least like 4 very winnable games, you know, this next week against Vegas. The good news is the Rams just lost to the New Orleans Saints, and the Rams are crumbling like a day-old cookie. So that's really good for Seattle because, you know, Sean McVay, he's really been a pain in the ass for Seattle. He's been a huge pain. So seeing the Los Angeles Rams at 3-7 so far on the season. I mean, you know, even though they play them in 2 weeks on December 4th and then to finish off the season on January 8th, you know, even if, let's just say, the Rams were to lose outright and you go into week 17 and you're 3-13, they're still going for it. Right? They're still going for it. Now, the good news actually is Matt Stafford might be shut down relatively soon. Unfortunately, I hate rooting for injury. I'm not rooting for injuries, actually. Fix those words. Cooper Kupp injured. So, you know, the Rams have a bunch of holes, and you have 3 remaining divisional games. One against San Francisco, which if we go scroll back to week 2, 27-7, I mean, when we take a look at that Seahawks team versus this Seahawks team, it's completely different. They lost that game in San Francisco, which is also a very difficult place to play, 27-7. So if I'm Seattle, I'm focused on just winning. You know, because we could sit here and talk about, you know, okay, Arizona is probably going to lose tonight. I think San Francisco, that Monday Night Football game's still going on. San Francisco's about to get a win here. All right, they're creeping up. Basically, the way you got to see it is the Seahawks have the advantage is theirs. There's good news. The Rams lost, the Broncos lost, the Giants lost, and the New York Giants actually look like complete and utter posers. You know, not to be disrespectful, but, you know, Daniel Jones is, I have huge concerns if I were a Giants fan. You know, the Packers also lost. My Green Bay Packers lost. There are some other, you know, Washington got a win, Atlanta got a win, you know, inching closer to Seattle in the wild card, but for the most part, if I'm Seattle, you know, I'm really focused on that division because the way I see it, worst case scenario, I do think Seattle will win 10 games. You know, knock on figurative wood here, but don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I really just like the way Seattle's looked. You know, commanding win. I know Arizona's season hasn't gone the way they panned out, but, you know, on the road, getting a win against Arizona, on the road, getting the win against the Chargers, both of those were very good, solid wins that you can't really see on the box score. Like they beat Arizona 31-21. You're putting up 30 points on the road against Arizona. They beat the Chargers 37-23. You're putting up 37 against the Chargers on the road. Those are things I'll take. So personally, I really like the way Seattle is looking for the duration of this season. Probably might make a little preview video once we get a little bit closer to that game against Las Vegas. But I have a couple questions for you guys. I'm curious to hear, because we have Geno Smith contract extension, rumored, the rumblings have began. I'm curious to hear where Seahawks fans stand on Geno Smith long term. And I also, so that's the first comment. You guys got to drop it down below, which, by the way, if you want more Seahawks content, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I've been posting them a few times a week. Seahawks fans, you guys are showing so much love to this channel. I'm forever grateful, and I will continue to cover this team for the rest of the season. But second question is, if the Broncos do, in fact, be a bottom 5 team in the NFL this year, what position do you want Seattle to target? What do you want them to do with a possible, probable top 10 pick? That's it for today. Comment your opinions on those 2 questions, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.